Welcome to Golf Smarter Mulligans number 45. I'm Fred Green. Our guest today is Bob Montello, a professional tour coach with more than 5 decades of PGA instruction. And more relevant to our conversation is that he's a putting specialist and has done a lot of work with the Putting Zone and Jeff Mangum. This is a valuable and entertaining replay of episode 111, originally published in January 2008. Golf Smarter Mulligans is brought to you by twoguyswithgolfballs.com. What can we say about golf balls? The one consistent thing that happens with golf balls is they don't last forever. Whether you're lucky enough to play with one ball over 3, 4, or 5 rounds, yeah, highly unlikely. But if you lose balls, then you're a golfer. That's just a fact of life. And that's why buying new golf balls can really be frustrating unless money is no object. Think about it. Do you really need brand new golf balls? Do you think it makes that much difference? Well, playing with the same ball makes a whole lot more difference than just playing with balls that you find in the woods. If you're looking for consistency, then you want to play the same clubs every time, and you want to play the same kind of ball every time to get the consistent ball flight you're looking for. That's why a place like twoguyswithgolfballs.com can be a savior for you, because you're going to save a lot of money over a year of golf ball purchases. And the great thing about saving that money is you can save more money when you use Golf Smarter at checkout. You're going to get an additional 10% off every order, every time. This isn't a one-time offer. Every time you order from twoguyswithgolfballs.com and use Golf Smarter at checkout, you're going to get an additional 10% off. But that offer expires on April 1, 2020. So move quickly and take advantage of it. twoguyswithgolfballs.com. Welcome, Bob.
Hi, Fred. How are you? Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, you were recommended highly. Jeff Mangum told me all about you, and I checked your website out and thought I would pursue the conversation. And going through your website, I not only noticed Jeff, who's been on the Golf Smarter podcast, but Carrie Mumford was also listed as one of the links on your website. You like his work too, huh?
Yes, I do. I really do. He makes it simple, and I like his basically his simplicity, and it's not just how do you get along with your parents type of deal. I mean, there's an actual structure there where he's got that 32 ball drill and
yep.
and so forth and so on, but how I feel about the mental game, other than Carrie, would be I don't know why anybody would really, and I have nothing against mental gurus, but if I wanted to learn something, even in life, or if I wanted to learn acting or anything like that, I think I would rather go to the top actors, or like we're talking about golf. I would go to Nicklaus, I would go to Palmer, I would go to Trevino, and I would ask them, how do you prepare? Well, what was your thought? I think Hogan, but the secret what Hogan was, I think, is mental preparation. I mean, there's nothing, I don't think mechanically that this player's out there now that hit the ball as good as Hogan, but I think his mental approach and that's something that you have to get from them guys. What were you thinking about? What do you think about when you're playing? I think he had something to do with an invisible wall in back of him, that every time he moved up, the wall moved up. I didn't quite get that whole. I read it someplace, but I don't remember. It's been a while since I did that, but I think that study. It's almost like neuro-linguistic programming, where you find people that are great and you find out what they do, and you try to teach, have people replicate that, and that's what I feel about the game. I would, as a matter of fact, if a kid wasn't suited for college, I would say, you want to build yo-yos, let's find out who builds the best yo-yos, and let's talk with them. Let's spend some time with them. I think that's where the mental approach would be for me.
I think you just gave me a great idea for a new podcast. We're going to do the Yo-Yo Smarter podcast.
There you go.
There's got to be a huge audience for that, just like golf, don't you think?
Absolutely.
What about people who have expectations about how they play? I mean, I'll receive emails, and I'm sure you've talked to people who they'll start playing the game, in mid or later life, and within 2 months they're shooting in the 80s, which is absolutely amazing to me because I've played with people who, and I'm sure you've worked with people who've been playing for years and struggle breaking 100.
Yeah.
How do you let people know, you know what, you're really going to be at best a mid-90s player, or, you can be a scratch golfer, or can anybody be a scratch golfer?
Well, absolutely.
And we're not talking about people who are planning on being on the tour someday. We're talking about the 98% of the rest of the world who are playing golf.
Right. Well, I feel that. That's where I kind of pride myself. I researched this golf swing and the mental approach and stuff like that. Till the cows come home. I'm up to 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and I think that anybody can reach a certain level based upon of course then you have to find out what their learning styles are and stuff like things like that. But I lost my train of thought there for a minute. But there's preparation, a certain you have to be a realist, and I think you have to get into. If you want to get to a next level, I think you have to feel like the next level. I think you have to act like the next level. Do things like a good player. Study a good player, how he dresses, what equipment he uses, what kind of training method. I think that's how you would become better at things. And the willingness to seek a good instructor and kind of buy into what he's saying. Do your homework and really work on it and not try to try to understand it first and just do it until you can do it. That's why I like Nike's logo there. Just do it. I think I got away from that a little bit of what you're trying to get. I had something, but I lost my train. But
we got derailed just slightly, huh?
Yeah, I got derailed a little bit.
But I'm, your comment about just act like it or feel like it, I'm not grasping here. I would love to be able to slam dunk a basketball, but I'm not going to be able to look like Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not even Larry Bird.
Well, sure, but what I meant with by that is study what these people actually do. Try to study what they do versus. Listen, 1% of the people who are great, that 1% are obviously doing something different than the 99% of the other players. So, if you really study what they do, naturally. You may not have the same talents, but you could come close to doing things that they do. And and I think a good instructor's got to be able to recognize talent, got to be able to work with that talent. It's something that you learn to do by teaching a lot. I think that's why. When I started teaching, I got on a busy, which was certified by the PGA to teach. It was a double-tier driving range, and I was giving lessons constantly from 8 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. We had lights, and after a while, you're able to judge talent. So I would seek out somebody like that versus a young kid or somebody at a country club that really doesn't have that experience. But that's the prerequisite is to find a coach that can work with you and do
you have any I'm sorry. Do you have any recommendations on how to find a quality instructor?
Absolutely. To find a quality instructor, first, there's many. First, the first thing you have to understand, there's many ways to play this game. There really isn't a wrong way, but there is a better way. I mean, there is geometries involved. There's certain ways that you could move a golf ball. Power a golf ball. You can either hit it or swing at it, use centrifugal force or hit at it. But there are definite basic things that the club has to be on plane. Doesn't have to come off plane, but then you have to get it back on again. But so if you find someone that's knowledgeable about biomechanics, how the body's designed to function. That's why I got to laugh how even myself years ago, how you fall for the secret to the golf swing. Well, you got 13 joints moving all the time. How the hell could there be a secret? They function in a certain way. I mean, they're sequenced. They can only do function in a certain way. And I believe that somebody who hasn't played golf at some point in their life has made every proper motion in a golf swing. For instance, if you were to clap, clapping in the audience, you were part of the audience. I mean, that's the way you would take your club back. I mean, you wouldn't, the function of clapping would be like kind of a first move away with your right arm and stuff like that. So. You make it simple, but I think the instructor has to go through I think he has to know all the models. To be a good instructor, I've been through the golfing machine. I've been through MORAD, Mac O'Grady stuff. I've been a stack and tilt, which is the stack and tilt is the one that's in vogue now, and that's Mike Bennett and Andy Plummer, who are friends of mine, and DJ Haddix and all these guys. It's a variation. It's not to get technical, but Mac has studied the swing, and there's a centrifugal force swing, which is sort of like when you hook a ball, and then there's what he calls a centripetal swing, where you kind of cut the ball. But there's different models, different heights that you can hit golf balls, and I think an instructor has to know all that to be a good instructor. He doesn't necessarily have to teach that and be technical, but water it down and simplify it and give it. But know every model. I mean, I pride myself. What does Mo Norman do? What did he do? What does Ledbetter teach? What does all the great teachers? What do they teach? I mean, a lot of times when you look at the forum, all these forums, they're knocking various methods. They don't even know what the method is. I mean, the stack and tilt thing. Bad on the back. It's not bad on the back. Mike Weir is with the stack and tilt guys, and his back got better. He had a bad back, so they don't know what they're talking about because they don't really know what's involved. It looks like a reverse pivot, but it's not. Anyways, I'm ranting away here.
Yeah, you are, Bob,
yeah.
and
yeah.
I'm fascinated because you've got to answer one of my questions, but you keep going. But let me keep throwing out questions and see where we go with some.
I mean, you can stop me at any time.
Oh, no, this is really interesting.
I just love to talk, you know what I mean?
But who knows, by the last question you may answer the first one. But let's see what happens here.
Okay.
Now I don't even know where to go.
Oh boy, this will probably be your weirdest, interview.
Well, maybe we'll put it on Christmas Eve, and by the time you're finished, something will come down the chimney.
Probably one of the stack and tilt guys, but go ahead.
Okay, let's try this. On your website, you have Swing Plane Made Easy. Go ahead. Make it easy.
Okay.
Is it really easy? Can it be done?
Very easy.
No. Wait. Before you go there, what I want is you keep making me forget what I was going to ask. I almost had it there. No, go. Let's do Swing Plane Made Easy. I'll make notes.
Sure. Swing plane. You want to know about swing plane?
Yes, I do.
Okay. When you're set up to the golf ball, the end of the club is behind the ball, right?
I'm going to stand up for this, if you don't mind. I'm going to stand up and grab my club. I keep a club here next to me just in case you tell me to. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so let's say we got a laser beam out, coming through the head, right, and coming out through the butt of the club, right? Laser beam, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the club head basically starts on the plane line, right? And if you trace, if when you take the club back and keep the beam of light on the target line, it keeps going down this target line until the club shaft gets parallel to the target line itself. You got that picture?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now when you take it up, the butt end of the club is picking up that line way down to the left.
Right.
So you take it up, keeping the butt end of the club, the laser coming out of the butt end of the club on the target line. And you follow that down, that the butt end of the club follows that target line down until you get to the top of your swing, which is parallel. But I have to stop there now because the vogue now is a short-to-short swing. It's not really getting the club up at the top of the swing where it's parallel to the ground and target line. It's actually, at the top of the swing is actually sort of like at 45 degrees from vertical and parallel to the ground now. It's kind of a short-to-short swing now. The finish is really not a wraparound finish. But in simple terms, when neither end of the club is pointing to the target line, the club has to be parallel to it. Another picture would be standing in the attic of a house. Okay, you're popped out through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the gutter would be the target line. Would be the target line, right? Now the club is in the target line, right?
Okay. Where are you going with this, buddy?
Well, you're standing through the roof, and you got the shaft flat up against the roof, and the head is in the gutter.
Okay.
So all you do is stay on that roof of the house.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever angle the club started at, it has to stay on that angle to the top of the swing. You don't change that angle. But there's guys who do that. They'll come up and change that angle, but then they have to lay it off. In other words, drop the head of the club towards the ground to get it back to that angle again, which is a step that you really don't need in there. Now, do you understand that?
Yeah, I'm with you here.
Yeah. So
I like the house thing. We're back up to the chimney again.
Yeah. So basically, that's as simple as it gets. So the club is either on or off plane. And an interesting thing is that if I had 25 new students today come to me and I said, can you tell me, if you stopped at any point in your golf swing, can you tell me if it's on or off plane? And you know that the 25 don't even know what I'm talking about. Now, that is a crime. With golf being as old as it is and all this teaching being done, they don't even know that.
Well, but you're saying they're brand new students. Why would they know that?
Yeah. No. But I'm talking about brand new to the point where they've been playing. Brand new to me.
I see. Okay.
I should clarify that. Brand new to me. They've been playing for years, and they just simply, that simple little thing. I mean, just right there, you can help somebody huge just by explaining that swing plane.
But now let's just say I've had one instructor for a while and I kind of petered out with him, but I'm coming to you and I say, my last instructor talked about a two-plane swing all the time.
Right.
And you're going to say what?
In other words, you're talking about single plane versus double plane.
Exactly.
Right? Okay,
exactly.
Well, that simply means that the shoulders are turning on a flatter plane and the shaft is vertical. Okay, the shoulders turn flat and the shaft is vertical, whereas the one-planer, the shoulder is turning. The shaft and the shoulders would basically parallel one another at a halfway position. Okay, let's say you're halfway into your golf swing, a three-quarter swing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a two-planer would have the shoulders kind of like flat with the shaft. Well, let's go to an extreme. Let's say the shoulders were parallel to the ground and the shaft was straight up in the air, okay? That would be like a two-plane golf swing.
Yeah.
Now, the one playing golf swing would have your shoulder pointing to the target line and the butt of the club pointing to the target line, whereas if you looked in the mirror to your right, the shoulders and the shaft would be on the same plane. Got that picture?
Yep.
That would be a single plane golf swing. So it's all on the same plane.
Okay.
Shoulders would turn steeper rather, and on the double plane it would turn more flat.
All right. Very good. Very good. Yeah, I recently received an email from a listener, a guy named Jim Chesbrough, who said he heard about a study that was done that showed that really good athletes' brains treat their tools of the trade, like a golf club, as if it was an actual part of their body.
Mm-hmm.
The brain treats the club the same way it treats the hand, type of thing. And the brain recognizes the club as it is part of the body and not something separate. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not quite sure I really understand that. I'm trying to understand that. But
it's just an extension of their body. They're so comfortable with a golf club in their hand, golfers, that it's as if they can make the head of the club do as if it was their fingers in itself, as if they can reach down, pick the ball, and throw it exactly where they wanted to, that they can do that with a golf club as if it's just an extension of their body. Does that make any sense to you?
Well, I would think that they would have to. It's like these guys that say that they're, I'm self-taught. Well, you would have had to seen somebody hit a golf ball to actually hit one yourself. You just don't pick up a golf club and you would have to see something. So I don't really buy into that, because
okay.
you do play with other people and you watch other people what they do. So that's a way of learning visually.
Yeah.
Somebody visually learns that way.
Okay.
Other people you have to explain things to.
Let's talk about putting. I want to get a couple tips out of you if we possibly can. You've done some work with Jeff Mangum,
right?
And you appreciate his work. And you even told me before we started recording that you wish you would have known more about Jeff's stuff when you started teaching.
Absolutely. Sure.
Let's go over that, because the short game is really where the strokes are made up. That's where the great scoring is done, correct?
Absolutely.
What do you find to be a common mistake for people who have not had proper instruction?
Taking a club straight back and straight through, you hear a lot, right?
Sure.
Okay. Well, it really doesn't, because for instance, if you hold the putter in the middle of you, cutting yourself in half, straight up and down, cutting yourself right in half, right up through your nose and between your eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's that's the center of your body, which is acting as the point for the pendulum, right?
Right.
So basically, when you rock your shoulder down towards your instep to take, that putter comes up off the ground immediately, right? So basically, the putting stroke is a perfect circle. So it's not straight back and straight through. Okay, so you use the center of your body as like the point where the pendulum moves, right? That's the fixed point, right? And you place the ball slightly ahead of low point where that putter's on the ground. That's a low point, all right? You want to hit the putt. You want to hit the ball slightly on the upswing. So you move the ball. You address the putter about a couple inches behind the ball. So when you reach bottom, the other half of the circle is coming up and hitting the ball, which gives it overspin. So that's what I used to try to do, too. Take it straight back and straight through, but it's a perfect circle. So when the left shoulder goes down, the putter comes up immediately, and then when you drop it, you just let it drop, but you got to right it up on the other side with the left shoulder going straight up. And that makes a perfect circle. There's no such thing as taking it straight back and straight through. In ball position, people have the ball position should be as I just explained. When the putter's in the middle of your body there, the ball's a couple inches in front. A lot of people have it too far forward, which they hit too much of the top of the ball, or they have it too far back, which they're hitting down on it, which makes it bounce.
We frequently hear about PGA, position grip alignment, when you're addressing the ball on a full swing. Is that relevant? Is that the same thing to consider when you're putting? Position grip and alignment?
Yeah,
is that just as important?
Yeah, absolutely. But see, in the golf swing, it depends on what kind of shot you're going to hit. So the ball position is going to vary, right? In putting, you need to hit slightly up at it to give it overspin. So that's going to be constant all the time. And that ball position, once you get your setup like that, that should be a constant thing. That should be where your ball position is positioned every time.
So the ball, you basically, on a putt, you're going to want to hit the ball straight no matter what. You just have to align your body.
Exactly.
On a full golf swing, you're not necessarily going to do that. You might want to shape your shot if you even know how the hell to do that.
That's right, absolutely, sure, and that's easy too. But you're always hitting a straight putt. There's never what a person has to do is he has to take once he. In other words, there's a thing about finding the top of the fall line. Okay, it's basically this. Finding the fall line is basically if you position yourself, try to find the high side of the hole, the high side of the green, and position yourself on the low side about 3 feet, and you walk around until you can do a push-up over that hole. All right? If you could, with your hands being even, I don't know if you can visualize this now. So if I walked around and I did a push-up over that hole, my hands would be even, not one higher than the other, okay? So if I'm on the low side and able to do that, that means that's a relatively straight putt, okay? And that line would extend up, to right up through the hole, up to the high side. Now, just above that hole is where every putt will fall in. That's called the top of the fall line. So let's say you're to the right of that, and you visualize that coming out of the hole to where your ball is. So, this is tough to explain, but the way Jeff has it too on his website is you try to hit on the try to find out where you're hitting the straight to the fall line, but it's on a tangent. You're hitting it on the tangent of the circle there. This is a little technical. Probably the amateurs are not going to understand this, but basically you find the top. And every putt is a straight putt on the tangent of the curve to stop right at the fall line. You have to stop the putt at the fall line, and it falls in. It'll fall in. Too much speed, obviously, it's not going to go. Not enough speed is going to break downhill or what have you. But it's all about stopping a putt, not 17 inches by, 13 inches by, or anything like that. But it's about stopping it on the fall line. Once you find a fall line, you stop it on it, and it falls in. For more clarification on that, go to Jeff's website, and he has that whole thing on there.
And that's puttingzone.com.
Puttingzone.com, exactly right.
What's your favorite drill? Give us, before we go, give us your favorite drill for working on your speed, your putting speed.
Favorite drill?
Yes, sir.
1 potato, 2.
Okay, thanks so much. That was really wonderful. What are you talking about? What is 1 potato and 2?
Well, it's that's the tempo that you should have on every putt, and try to make the backswing and the follow through the same length. And if you have the same tempo, 1 potato, 2 through the ball, all you have to do is vary the length of the backswing and follow through for length of putts. And what I would advise people to do would get on the green and putt towards the edges of the green and try to come as close to the green, edge of the green, without going off. And you know what? How to judge that is basically back off a putt and kind of, take it back 1 potato, 2. And it's kind of instinctive. It's like throwing a ball to somebody. You wouldn't throw it too soft or too hard. But try to back off and say you got a 3-foot putt and you took it back 12 feet, and well, that's not going to make it. You keep working it back and forth until you have that with that tempo, and it'll be very, very consistent that way. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but
well, let me try to clarify it. 1 potato is the backswing, 2 is the forward motion.
Yeah, one potato. Yeah, 1 potato, 2. You drop it and right it up with the right shoulder.
Okay, and so you're varying the speed of your backswing depending on the distance of the putt.
The tempo would always be the same. Right. The length will get you the distance. The length coming back.
But your tempo is obviously going to change if you've got a 30-foot putt versus a 3-foot putt. The speed with which you bring it back.
No, always the same. If I have a 1-inch putt, I'm going to go 1 potato, 2. That's why people miss those little short, like 4 or 5 inchers.
Yeah, well, they're freaking out.
Yeah, they jab at it. But I promise you, if you go 1 potato, 2, right? Always have that same tempo. The length is going to be varied by how far you take the putter back and through, but it's always the same tempo.
So you should, when you say 1 potato, 2, you're going to say it at the same speed no matter how far your putt is.
Absolutely.
1 potato, 2. If you have to bring the club back another, like 3 feet versus 6 inches,
right,
your putter head's going to be going at a faster rate, isn't it? Even though you're saying 1 potato, 2.
No, gravity's gravity. You let the putter fall down. It's gravity's gravity.
You're not pushing.
It just has more slap to it because it's higher.
I see.
It has more force.
Interesting.
So if you go 60. Let's say I'm over here. I'm looking at a mall here. I'm across the street. If I want to go there, I'm going to go 1 potato. I'm going to really take it up high. 1 potato, 2. It's going to be, it's going to get it there. And then if I get a 2-inch putt, it's still 1 potato, 2. It's always the same tempo. Always the same tempo. You just vary the length of the backswing and follow through. That's all.
Hey, Bob, this has been very entertaining. Thanks. Do you remember what the first question was?
No, I don't.
Yeah, it's all right. You couldn't remember after I asked it, so you just kept going anyway. Your website is B Montello. It's MONTELLO, right? bmontello.net.ms.
Right, exactly.
As in Microsoft or Mississippi.
That's right.
But it's neither of those things. And you are teaching pro at the Woodlake Country Club in Vass, North Carolina, right near Pinehurst, huh?
That's right. It's 20 minutes from Pinehurst. Right.
You sound like you're local for Pinehurst.
Pardon? Well, I work with a lot of PGMs over there, too. A lot of PGMs work with me on their golf swing. PGMs are students that are going to, like, Ferris or Campbell or Methodist to become golf professionals.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for explaining that. I had no idea what a PGM was.
Yeah, that's what it is.
All right.
Yeah, so that's,
So is golf in North Carolina that good?
You know what? I'll tell you what. It's good? Westchester County in New York.
Get a dog and a beer and a...
Don't forget, you have Wingfoot up there. You have, Westchester Country Club. I mean,
you've been spoiled, buddy.
Oh, absolutely. Let me tell you, I have been.
Good for you. Well, we have too. Really enjoyed talking to you. Thanks so much for spending time with us on the Golf Smarter podcast.
I hope there's some value to it.
Oh, there's plenty.
Thank you, man.